This first email begins with, I've just begun to date a guy. We've gone on a couple of dates now. We were supposed to Skype tonight, but I'm feeling kind of tired and I'm several hours out from our appointed time. So I can see that by the time we get to our appointed time, I'm going to be tired, even more tired. So here's my question. Would it be unloving to reschedule the Skype with this guy by texting him like this? Hey, you know what? I've totally messed up our call tonight. Could I get in touch around 9 to let you know if I can Skype then, meaning close to our appointment? So I'm getting from your question that your appointment time to talk is probably 10 p.m. and you're going to let him know at 9 whether you're too tired to do the 10 or you're going to do the 10. So could I get in touch with you around 9 to let you know if I can do the Skype call? I'm feeling a little indecisive as to whether I'm up for a Skype today. Not a bad thing to say. You could do that, no big crime, but it is decidedly inequitable, where, in other words, kind of unfair, where you get entirely what you want, and he's just sort of left with whatever's left. In other words, it's not considerate of his time. It's unfair. You're telling him to hang around and wait on you till 9 until you decide what you feel like. If you are watching a movie on television and wanted to put it on pause and decide whether you want to finish it, great. But this guy is a human being, I'm assuming. Your plan nails him for the rest of the evening to your previously agreed upon time. So he's stuck where he is. He's not going to be able to just, go out and play basketball because he's going to be waiting on your call. And then you might or might not be there. You're free to do what you want. See? And he's not. He's stuck. So it's like you're the director of the play and you'll just let him know when it's his turn to play a part. Maybe not entirely considerate. It might be more considerate to either just have the call, or if you believe that you might be too tired. You're only a few hours out and you're already tired. If you think there's a significant possibility you're going to be too tired, then assume you are and reschedule it. Because see, you're already announcing to him that you're going to be talking to him while you're tired anyway, and you're going to be half there. So at best, he gets half of you. At worst, he just sort of hangs around nailed to the wall, and then you're going to pull the nails out an hour before your call, and now he can do what he wants. Yeah, it wouldn't work for most people. So to use what you said first, to modify it just a little bit, and I'm not telling you what to say, never. Just giving you another way to say it, and you get to choose. Let's start off with what you said. You know what? I totally messed up with our call tonight. But then you changed the rest. Can we reschedule for blank time on blank day? Tomorrow, the next day, whatever it is. Or you could just say, can we reschedule for blank day, like tomorrow? What are some times that you have free that day? Then you could suggest some times that you have or times that are impossible. So you're putting out your schedule, being accommodating, so he does it, so you don't have to waste time with him going, how about 5 o'clock? And you go, I can't do that. How about 4 o'clock? How about 3? No, time span. So you're giving him this amount of flexibility with times he has. He has this flexibility. Now watch, just like a Venn diagram. Look at this. Poof. Here's the time you talk to him. I know. Was that a cool visual aid or what? Now it's easy to blend your schedules. You continue. If a guy said to me more than once what I've just suggested that I would say to the guy that I've started dating, I would probably consider him not committed enough. Nah, too high an expectation. early in dating, you said you just begun to date this guy, commitment really isn't an issue. You brought up the word. Get rid of that idea. But honesty is. See? So I'm just not going to be available for the Skype. You don't even have to explain tired or not. We over-explain. We justify not just what we're doing, but we're justifying who we are. So I'm not going to be available. How about this time in the way that I described? Done. It doesn't matter what your explanation is because you're immediately indicating a genuine desire to talk to him. See? If it was just, I can't talk tonight, done. Well, that would be kind of a downer. But no, you're saying, I really do want to talk to you. It just can't be now. Next subject. Mother of a 3-year-old writes, says, I'm a single mother, and sometimes my mother comes over to help around the house and to help with Michael, my son. But then if there are spills or Michael cries, they get stressed, both of them. I try to work with Michael, my son, but my mother gets in the way, tries to help too much. Here, let me do this. Here, I'll do that. And then asks me lots of questions. So is this okay? So why are you doing that? And it adds to my stress. Turns into a circus of stress. She's stressed, he's stressed, now I'm stressed. And so we got 3 people who are struggling for air inside of a plastic bag. You continue. I don't know how to handle it. I guess I could talk to her, away from the moment when it's happening. I could say, Mom, when you see that Michael needs me and I'm focused on him, it would really help if you'd leave me to pay attention to him, and I'll ask you if I need anything. This includes not talking to me or trying to help because I find it difficult to focus on him while also answering your questions. Well, you could do that. Most people don't respond well to being told in the moment that what they're doing isn't helpful. And you said away from the moment that it's happening. So that part's good. It needs to be more specific with her, because if you're the least bit vague, people will find an excuse to keep doing what they've always done. Really. You think, I didn't think of that. Yeah, no kidding, but they did. We're always looking for a way to continue doing the same thing we've always done. So outside of any event or stress, like perhaps even when your child isn't around, you could say what you suggested. You began, however, with, Mom, when you see that Michael needs me and I'm focused on him, it would really help if you'd leave me to pay attention to him, end quote. That's what you said. The problem with that is, how will she know that, in your words, Michael needs you? It's too vague. So your plan is good, actually really good, but you need more specificity at the beginning of an interaction and the end. Movies always have a beginning and an end. Books do. Some events work better that way too. So after saying what you suggested, you come up with a specific code word or phrase, which will mean that it's time for her to back off nicely. If you just leave it with, when you can see that Michael needs me or I'm stressed, oh, honey, how's she going to know that? We don't wear a stress meter on our head. Well, we actually do on our faces, but most people can't read it. It's not digital, so they can't see it. So code word or phrase, you say, Mom, I need to pay attention to Michael. I'll come and get you when he's leveled out, calm, when I'm done. Whatever. You come up with your own phrase, but do you see how clear this is? You tell her ahead of time you're going to use this phrase. So when you say, I need to pay attention to Michael, okay, hard to misunderstand that, as opposed to when you see that I need to pay attention, impossible. Then you say, I'll come and get you. What's the rest of that sentence? I'll come and get you because you're not going to be in the room. And you tell her that. You say it's not mean. It's just, you say, I get stressed. He gets stressed. We're learning how to do this together. So I'll say these words and then I'll come find you. You can modify the words any way you want. I'm just saying that I'm suggesting to you what has worked with a great many others. Parenthetically, to everybody who's listening, she went and did this. And hang on, wait for it. It worked. Nobody was offended, and the stress levels in future interactions went way down. If you're not clear, you almost deserve what you get. No kidding. If you say to somebody, well, go buy me a car. You're joking. Would you do that to somebody? Go buy me a car with your money. No, you wouldn't. If you couldn't move and you couldn't go get the car, you'd be bloody specific about what you wanted. Here's the brand. Here's the model. Here's what the color I want. Here are the add-ons. Here, you would be clear. Why are we not clear in our personal lives? Thank you. New subject. This is from a woman who's been practicing real love for a year or more. I'm pretty bad with time periods that are longer than an hour. She said, my oldest sister called after years of no contact. I was fine with the silence. You can almost hear your relief at this, your joy. I was fine with the silence. I loved it that she didn't contact me. You continue, because my family's pretty crazy. She was the defender of my mother against our outrageously abusive father. She cleaned the house. She took care of our mother. She controlled everything. And boy, does that ever become a pattern. You continue. She apologized to me about all those years of being bossy and unsupportive of me. Well, like, cool. And understandable that she was. She felt like her role in life, and I promise you, your mother unintentionally or intentionally, doesn't matter, drew her into this role. You had an abusive father, and she had one lifeline. May have often been insufficient, but she had one lifeline, your sister. Your sister saved her on more than one occasion. Your mother loved that, smiled, beamed all over the place. Your sister could see that your mother loved that. So what do you think your sister became? Somebody who saves people. And in order to do that, you have to become controlling yourself. So unwittingly, she took on this role because it was available and she was being rewarded for it. But here she is saying, I apologize for all those years of being bossy and unsupportive of you. Of course, she was completely occupied with saving your mother. You keep going. She said she wanted to be a better sister and friend. Best conversation I've ever had with any family member. Ever. Brothers, sisters, I can't remember the relative age of this person, but 50 years of awfulness, and here's a good conversation. That had to feel kind of cool. You keep going. Later, I realized that my conversation with her increased my awareness of how truly awful the past was. It was insane, without exaggeration. Our one calm phone call kind of highlights the fact that our lives together, when we all lived in the same house, were nuts. Yeah, and it often takes that long for us to figure out that it was crazy, because at the time, it's normal. That's all we know. You continue. So now what? Now I'm mad about the past, even madder. Do I give her a list of transgressions that she committed that helped to destroy my life? Tempting, because understandable. Here's your sister who's been abusive and ugly and controlling and bossy and unresponsive to you. And now you have one good phone call and you're going, well, I got more to talk about. The door has opened, so I'm going to drive my elephant through it. Yeah, that's not going to work. it's going to break the door frame and very likely bring the house down. So after one good phone call, let's calm down and see what happens. Do not even think about bringing up a truckload of past offenses. In fact, I wouldn't bring up one. She's already admitted a transgression or an unloving pattern without you bringing it up. And now you're going to pound her in the head for it? Yeah, probably not. You continue. During the call, I told her about how abusive my dad was. But I didn't realize until later, I was kind of in shock during this positive call with my sister, that whenever I talked during this call, she changed the subject back to her. The whole call was really about her, and I didn't see that till later. It was all about her. I did try once to point out something she'd done in the call, now that I'm kind of calming down from the shock of it all. And she said, "Oh, just tell me next time we talk." Now I'm angrier. I realize that now she didn't call me to really apologize or really reconcile in our relationship. She just wanted somebody to talk to. She was lonely. She used me again, which she did our entire lives when we were kids. How did I fall for that? I didn't see it till later. I was just, like I said, in shock. I want to call her now and just crush her like a can. Well, I get it. Here's somebody who really had an overall negative influence in your life. She was kind of a mirror of your dad. Here she was protecting your mother from your abusive father, and in the process, she became controlling and abusive toward you. That's just common as rice. So do you call her and crush her? No. Just kind of love her from a distance. So she made what in your words was the most positive phone call ever in your family. And then you noticed that it was really all about her. So now do you trust her and open up your heart and become all vulnerable and soft and gushy and say, "So, sweet big sister, here's who I really am"? No. You definitely want people to trust, but you already have people to trust. People that you write to, people that you call in real love. And we don't really know what's going to happen with your sister. I am not telling you to put up a wall, to set a boundary. Those are just terrible words. Or be defensive or skeptical. No, just saying, let's see. Really. Anybody who knows me knows how often I say that. People go, blah, 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 and this happened, and what do I do next? And I go, we'll see. You gather information. Truth. See, as opposed to being optimistic, you're going to get bitten. Or pessimistic, you're already bitten. Neither one of those is good. Observe. Just observe. Let her make the next contact. Let's see what happens. What if it's 10 more years? Well, then you learn that the conversation was about her. See? You just learn. We don't condemn her. She was doing her best, just like you were doing yours. Just happens that her best crushed you. She was bigger. She was older. She was busy being defender of the faith, defender of her mother, your mother. So cut her some slack. But you're not ready to contact her yet. I want to crush her like a can. Yeah, probably wouldn't be good for you to make a phone call when you're feeling like that. Donna's been in the room when sometimes I've said, I just need to set this right. And she's looking at me. She doesn't even say anything. I look over at her and she's just giving me this look like, "Oh, you poor insane man." One look at her face and I go, "So not a good idea." No. If you're feeling defensive, shut up. It's like a law. It's written somewhere. She's still in her own pain. And if you point out anything she did wrong, she will defend herself. She didn't just suddenly become enlightened and call you and go, "Oh my goodness, I'm in a nunnery somewhere, and in my silent retreat for the last 20 years, I've realized all of my mistakes." No, she just called you and admitted some stuff and was feeling a little vulnerable and needed some attention. People would tend to like her, many people, because she's such a good trader, not traitor, like as in one who betrays, a trader of imitation love. She knows the right things to say to endear people, but then what does she do? She makes it all about her. People pleasing, controlling events so that they go well, all for her. So that's what she does. You say, so now I wonder if there's something wrong with me because people like her. And here I am not liking her, so maybe I'm at fault. Oh, nah. She's just good at trading. It's not that she's loving people and people are also loving her. No, they're just trading, and you don't like trading like that anymore. She does all that stuff to feel important, just like when she took care of your mother. Her role was to defend your mother and win your mother's approval. Well, your mother's out of the picture now, and so now she takes care of other people, and she's probably very good at it. Leave her alone for now. She wanted to see what she could get out of you, and now we'll just see. See, again, we'll see if she tries again. If so, the moment the conversation becomes uncomfortable for you, you just tell her you have to go. And then get loved by people who have it. What if she just surprises you and is more loving in the next phone call? We'll see. Again, gather information. Don't react. So time and practice will tell if you ever have a real relationship with her. Don't be attached to the outcome. Couldn't say that loud enough. If you believe that the outcome is going to be bad, you're going to be defensive before the phone call starts. If you believe the outcome is going to be good, you're going to manipulate her. You're going to trade with her and have the same false, crappy, superficial relationship you had before. See? So we don't do positive or negative. We don't do optimistic or pessimistic. We don't do hoping versus doom. We just be ourselves, you be yourself, and observe. Big lesson, actually, here. New subject. This person says, I applied for a job at an upscale retail store in high fashion. It's down in the center of a large city, like, on an hour on a train and a bus for me. But one day I realized that I would be going somewhere else that would be within 30 minutes of this high fashion retail store. So I thought about it, and I thought, I had kind of a feeling, almost an inspiration that I should go to the store. So I went into the store to introduce myself, and I kind of screwed up. It turns out that the offices of the store, where I sent the application, where the administration is done, the offices are several doors down from the actual store. So I just walk straight into their workplace, straight into the store, introduce myself, and it gets awkward in a hurry. I asked where to go to speak to someone in the office, and they said, you can just leave now and enjoy the rest of the day. They didn't want to be bothered. Total wasted journey. I don't know why I felt like I should go there if it was for nothing. That's been a puzzlement to me all my life. Why did I feel like I should do a thing? I mean, like inspired even. And then you do that thing and it doesn't have the anticipated result. See, here's the trick. Often we have the intuition, or better, the inspiration to do a thing. We think we know what the reason is. Rarely is the reason explained to us. Our intuition doesn't explain the reason. It's intuition. Inspiration doesn't explain the reason. Pretty much never in history does God say, go do this, and then explain to you. Now, Let me explain the eternal reasons why this would be a really good idea. We wouldn't even comprehend the answer, like explaining the functioning of an electric motor to a cockroach. No negative connotation to a roach. They're lovely little animals as long as they're not in my pantry. If you are inspired to go just for the experience of not getting what you want, but gaining confidence from that. So you went in, you didn't get what you anticipated. It was awkward, possibly even embarrassing, but you left feeling like, I did this difficult thing, a thing way outside my comfort zone, and I didn't die. If you just got that feeling, that's reason enough. In fact, we get more confidence from trying something really difficult and having it not turn out exactly as we want. I hesitate to use the word fail because it's only really a failure if we didn't learn anything from it. I'm not kidding. You're thinking, well, wait a minute. No, trust me on this. As long as you keep moving forward and you keep learning, it's not a failure. You fail when you stop because then you're dead. It looks like you're living because you're breathing, but you're dead. So if you went just to get confidence, surviving the brief embarrassment, realizing that it didn't matter, it was worth it. Last video chat, I went crazy and gave a couple of quotes of other people. And I don't know, today apparently I'm similarly insane. Charles Kettering, really famous philanthropist in the United States, 100 years ago maybe, I don't know, something like that. He said, learn how to fail intelligently. Almost seems like an oxymoron, yeah? Fail intelligently? Yeah. Because failing is one of the greatest arts in the world. Oh, I love that. We define ourselves according to our supposed successes, which of course we define. We define success as this. Well, what if real success is just your learning on the process to not even getting to that thing you think that you want, that thing that you think is success. Turns out that's not even you. So why define the future? How about if you just define success now? I'm going to learn from this. Oh, you win. I fell down. I got back up. You win. I work outside in my backyard every day, and in some way, every single day, I fail at something. Didn't bring the right tool, dug the hole too deep, dug it too shallow, brought the wrong equipment, brought too little gravel to fill the hole, slipped and fell down a mud hole, and then flat on my back in the stream. That was just a few days ago. But now I know what not to do. And then I just get back up out of the stream, glad that I didn't hit my head on a rock and kill myself. And I'm smarter. And I got done what I was going to do. And it turned out way different than I thought. Like, wow, different. I had this thing all planned, this project that I was doing. Yeah, no, it didn't work like that. Many pieces of broken equipment later and numerous failures, I suppose. No, they weren't. I learned what wouldn't work, and I got a little closer and closer to the solution. And when I arrived at the solution, it was so obvious, but it wouldn't have been had I not failed along the way. Just for fun, one more quote. Crazy. William Saroyan, writer. Good people are good because they've come to wisdom through failure. Yeah, this is a guy who knows what it means to fall down. If you don't see it this way, you become wise through failing, then you're just going to feel like a failure. And that's just stupid. Then you're going to walk through life feeling like a failure because you've defined what success is and you don't know. You really don't. Life is a constant evolution. How would you know when you've arrived? Really? I look back at what I used to call success 20 years ago and just sort of chuckle. I'll be darned. I never had arrived, ever. Still haven't. But I'm willing to learn. even when it's really hard and you have to bleed. Not a failure. New subject. This is from a guy who's been doing real love for 2 to 3 years. And he just keeps going. He falls down, kind of linked to the person we just talked with, fails, gets back up over and over. Admirable. I mean, these are the heroes of life. What did Soroyan say? People are good. I'll translate that into my own phrase because then now it's mine. I can change his any way I want. Heroes are heroes because they've come to wisdom or courage or strength or power, real power, not where you control other people, through failure. So this guy I'm about to talk about is a hero to me. He writes, doing this work is like learning to walk a path while blind. If you try to run, you're almost certainly going to walk off the path and get hurt. In my paths out in the back, if you run while you're blind, you will fall off the path and you really won't like where you hit. He continues, but if you're too afraid to move on the path, you'll never get anywhere. So danger if you run, nothing if you don't move. And I see this every day. People stand in the middle of the path being run over, being rained on, all the while that they complain they're not moving forward and also whining that they're afraid to take the first steps. That's stuck. He continues. You have to walk the path. Walk it. Not run, walk it. Recognize when you're off the path, find it again, and keep going. Remember, you're walking while you're blind. That's really what faith is. That's a short, one of the shortest definitions I've ever thought of. Faith is walking while blind. 5 words. Pretty simple. You keep walking. You find it again, you keep going. When you trip, because you will, not might, when you trip, you get back up. He continues, many of us are carrying heavy, burdensome, cumbersome, unbalanced baggage. Ooh, that's nicely said. No kidding. All the lies and wounds and twisted perceptions of the past, they're pretty heavy. He continues, you learn to walk with people who know the way. Oh, brilliant. When you fall, sometimes they help you up. Sometimes. Sometimes they just encourage you while you get up yourself. You don't want to be saved every time you fall down. You're just weak then. Sometimes they suggest a piece of baggage you might not need. Notice, they don't take the baggage. They say, do you really need this? On your journey, do you need to carry a piano? Just ask him. Do you need a truck strapped to your back? Because the past can be that big. He continues, with every step I take on this path, my footing is surer, my understanding is better, my confidence is abundant. I keep putting down those things that burden me, and I'm so happy and surprised by how little I need to hold on to them anymore. This is just getting poetic. My hands are almost free, so that I can hold the hand of another person, who will walk beside me. I might frame this. How do you hold the hand of somebody else who's helping you unless you set down the baggage that you've got a death grip on with both hands? Nicely said. New subject. This will be 2 poetic emails in a row. It was not intended, but sometimes people send just absolutely beautifully phrased expressions. Real love is not an easy path, as we just discussed. But if people keep going, the results can be transformative, not just good, transformative. This is a letter from such a person. Something new, strange, and wonderful is happening. Love poetry. See, you've got this person has got my complete attention right off. Poof. This is called not burying the lead. Something new, strange, and wonderful is happening. I'm already just can't wait. I've been in real love for 1.5 years now. This morning, all the love I have been receiving has warmed my heart to a tipping point. So we have poetry and a reference to a modern book in one sentence. Pretty great feeling. People tend, this is me now, tend to quit real love early, right about when they hit their first few moments of discomfort. Everybody wants to change, but not really, no. They want to just be changed. They want somebody to just go bibbidi-bobbidi-boo and give them a sugar-coated pill. And then they want that, but they don't want to do the work. Because as soon as it gets uncomfortable, they go, oh, well, see, this is bad for me. No. I was a surgeon for 20 years. Pretty much every time I treated somebody, examined somebody, operated on somebody, there was some discomfort. I remember attempting to do an operation on somebody one day, and it was there in my operating suite, and every time I would touch them, they'd just jump, and I just finally sat back and said, so do you want to live with this tumor? Because it's going to get bigger. It's going to get way bigger. Might metastasize. We'll see, because we're going to send it to the lab and see what it is. You decide. But there will be some stinging when I do a local anesthetic here. So it's stinging now or possibly dead later. You choose, because I am not going to hold you down. Oh, well, they held still. Change means discomfort. Really. But people want both, to change and to remain comfortable. Not possible. So they stay with comfort, because comfort in the short term feels pretty good. For a moment, they stay in comfort. But they continue a life of unhappiness that results from chronic, from infancy, pain, fear, and on and on. This is somebody, person who wrote, who stuck with it long enough to discover that the rewards far outweigh the risks and the pain. How do I know? Listen to what this person said. I can't remember if it's a him or her. The love I've received has warmed my heart to a tipping point. Persisted, and now getting to a place where, yes, I understand better now. Not I understand, you never completely understand, but okay, now I'm seeing how it's all worth it. She continues. Now I remember it's a she. And I'm also remembering why it's poetic, 2 in a row. My ice age heart is starting to melt. Rivulets, look it up. Beautiful word. Rivulets are forming. It means little teeny rivers. Rivulets are forming and taking water down deeper than ever before. As water flows, it flows down, but if it flows long enough, it also flows deeper. It cuts its own canyon. She continues, this is not the end of winter. Ooh, that's beautiful. She could have said, this is not just the end of winter, or the end of just winter. Either one would be correct. This is the end of the ice age. Oh, got my attention. I can feel the ice age ending. Today I feel love deeper than ever before. There are people who truly, simply, really love me. I got it. It's not a ploy. It's not a ruse. It's real. It's true. It's beautiful. It's amazing. I am overwhelmed and grateful. She said it all. No kidding. Rewind and play that whole thing again. You don't find all that the rivulets that end the ice age, the rivers, the rivulets that turn into little streams and then turn into the Amazon, you don't get that if you quit early. If at the first drop that falls onto your head, you go, "Oh, ew, it's wet." Yeah, yet rivers end up being wet. But if you're dying of thirst, you might need a river. Who knows? Beautiful expression. New subject. I know an early teenager, early teen years, didn't do chores for a week. Her dad gave her some consequences, raking leaves or I don't know, I don't remember for sure, and said she needed to think of another consequence. Apparently, he thought one wasn't enough, perhaps from her pattern of behavior, like he could take her phone or whatever. So she wrote or Skyped me, I can't remember now. She asked me for an idea about what the additional consequence might be. Now, I could have just said, well, just have your dad take your phone for a week, or have him stick your head in a toilet, or have him throw you in the lake, something memorable. Yeah, but those seem like fairly unnatural consequences. They don't seem like very much loving and teaching. So I said, why don't you write an essay? She's an early teenager. She's articulate. She can write. She's written essays for school about what you've learned. So she did. She said, this essay, and she sent me the essay and then, of course, gave it to her dad, who apparently thought this was a pretty good consequence. Remember, what's the purpose of a consequence? To teach. Well, this is certainly give her an opportunity to learn, ain't it? So she wrote, this essay entails 3 simple and essential concepts. Obviously articulate for an early teenager. Why not doing my chores was irresponsible. That's in the past. What I learned from not doing them, that's in the past and the present. And how by doing them, I am preparing for life, that's in the present and the future. So whether she meant to or not, this is literary genius. Past and present, present, future. Ooh, nice. I didn't tell her that, I should have. The first is by far the easiest to explain. I said I would do my chores, and I didn't. That by itself, talking about anything, not quite sure what that phrase means, but that in itself is an irresponsible sentence. The second, remember the first is, there are 3 essential concepts here. Why I was irresponsible, what I learned, and how I'm preparing for the future. So the second is different for any one person replying to it. Everyone has different pasts that impact their present day choices. The third and last seems like it would be dependent on future plans, but in reality, it affects every single soul, even you. So she's giving us an outline of what she's going to say. Somebody in school taught her to introduce her work. Why is doing my chores irresponsible? Simply put, I said I would do them many times, and I didn't. This communicates to other people that I didn't care enough to put effort into completing what I said I would do. Kind of selfish, huh? She says they take about 20 minutes to complete. 20 minutes out of my day doing something I don't especially like, but will help me become happier. Seems like a pretty straightforward answer. And I benefit way more than the 20 minutes I put in. I get home, food, insurance, transportation, on and on and on. And all I have to do is 20 minutes of chores. It's really actually is kind of unfair in my advantage. So, of course I'll do my chores. This is pretty smart. Why in the moment does it feel so difficult? In other words, why do I not do them? That's because you only focus on the near future. You meaning people. Would you rather watch a 20-minute show or spend 20 minutes cleaning? This isn't hard. When you put it like that, almost everybody would pick the show, of course. just sit back and eat popcorn and watch a movie because it's more enjoyable and takes less effort. If everyone focused on the long-term future, though, choices would become so simple. For example, should I brush my teeth tonight or skip it? Skipping it would mean starting a bad habit that would eventually turn into me not having teeth when I'm older. Why do some old people go into the dentist and have to have a full mouth extraction? Ugh, very thought of which makes me sick to my stomach. Because when they were 11, they didn't brush their teeth. Really? She continues. Seems like a pretty easy choice when you put it like that. See how brilliant this is? What she's doing? She's taking what she's doing and making a metaphor out of it. Pretty good. That means she really means it. Because you can just mechanically say this. I was bad and I was lazy and irresponsible and I really shouldn't be. No, I can teach a parrot to say that. She continues, what have I learned from not doing my chores? This time I learned that it makes me feel disconnected and unhappy. It reminds me of shame I was taught to feel. Maybe in the moment it feels like a victory because I didn't have to do the unenjoyable task in that moment. But that's only because the consequences haven't quite set in. I'm just temporarily getting away with it. Not doing my chores really is not a victory. I'm losing something. I'm losing my integrity. I'm losing my future. And the family is losing something. I'm losing a chance to be responsible and feel accomplished about something, and my family isn't getting a clean house. It sounds kind of like a lose-lose to me. You getting how cool this is? This applies to everything in life. It's not just about chores. It's about every responsible decision you'll make at whatever age. And this kid is 13, maybe? She continues. How does doing chores prepare me for life? Her question is really, what good is responsibility? Because many of us have asked that. I know 40, 50, 60-year-old people who still aren't responsible. They're still not brushing their teeth because, well, it's easier not to. And so they're eating, chocolate and watching a movie, figuratively speaking, and their teeth are rotting away. In this case, their lives are rotting away. She continues, chores are for the simple reason of teaching me responsibility. Bless her. Chores aren't to get the house clean. I used to tell my kids when they lived here, I can clean the house in less time than it takes me to get you to do it, at least in the beginning, before you've taught them a pattern of behavior. No, it's not about getting the house clean. I could hire somebody to clean the house. It's about teaching you responsibility. She keeps going. Responsibility helps me to feel connected, not just triumphant that I finished a job, connected to people that I'm doing it for, connected to the flow of the universe, connected, and become happier. When I do chores, I become responsible. To get a job, I will have to be responsible. Getting a job allows me to do other things like, buying stuff. Eventually, those things will be cars, education, houses. Simply put, my whole future is affected by the simple doing of chores. In case you're missing this, this is what we should have taught our kids, all of them. Should is a terrible word. We would have benefited greatly from doing this. So would they. 40 and 50-year-old people I know who are never taught to be responsible, and they never will be. Because they didn't learn how to do chores and their parents didn't require it. She keeps going. Instead of dragging your feet when your parents tell you to do something, wouldn't it be better to thank them? Imagine that. Go clean the kitchen. Don't wait for these words. But if we really understood the possibilities in go clean the kitchen, we would say, why, thank you, Mother, for giving me this opportunity to learn to be responsible. I'm pretty sure I've never heard it put quite like that. But that's what we would say. Our parents are helping us, she says, to learn skills that will help us excel in life. That's the point. Who knows? Maybe one day in the future, you'll have fulfilled your lifetime goal. You'll look back at your life and smile because you remember that this all started, this is from a kid, from doing 20 minutes of chores a day. Yes. You get to the point in your life where you're confident, where you feel powerful, where you feel invincible, where you have wonderful relationships. And it all starts back when you decided to watch video chats every day. Not kidding. When you made a single decision to be loving to somebody instead of snotty and, winning. 20 minutes of chores. That's how it happened. She concludes, 3 simple concepts. Now she's going to weave it back together. Sheesh. If I were grading this paper just on structure alone, it would be pretty good. 3 simple concepts that work together to help you excel in life. Number 1, why not doing my chores was irresponsible. 2, what I learned from not doing them. And 3, how by doing them, I'm preparing for life. Just think how easy this can be for you. Aren't you glad somebody cares enough to help you with this? Taken to school by a 13-year-old. 13 years old, and she gets it. New subject. From a man who's been in real love for a few years. He writes, I got a nice gift today. This afternoon, I was thinking about when people are loving toward me and how it is hard for me to feel it when they love me. It comes from when I was a little kid and I learned not to buy into my parents loving me because then they would always turn around and get angry at some point. In other words, I would feel betrayed. I would trust them, then I'd get betrayed. I would trust that they love me, and then boom, they'd hit me in the face. While I was thinking about them doing this, I touched on an old memory. I remember that even then it made no sense to me as a child. Sometimes I would do something very similar to a past transgression that I'd been punished for, but on this next occasion, it wouldn't bother them at all, unlike the screaming I got before. In other words, he's saying, I would do the same stupid thing the first time, and I would get yelled and screamed at, and then I would do it the second time, and nothing would happen. Deep down in there, I could understand that I was not the cause. Because if their reaction is so different to the same event, then it couldn't just be me, even if I couldn't put it into words. But I was forced into believing that I was the cause. See how confusing this is for a kid? There is truth in me beneath the lies I've been told my whole life, and as I unbury information from my past that led to the pain in my present, those good things about me will surface. Beautiful. What a series of just absolutely beautiful communications. The only solution to this predicament, not trusting people because, well, your parents weren't trustworthy, trust. Again, except now you have additional power having been loved. Now you're a different person. Now you have people who have every indication that they're not going to betray you and hit you in the head with a shovel. So it's different now. The very definition of PTSD is we react to the events now as though they were the events in the past. That's what it is. And in post-childhood stress disorder, it's just PTSD and the trauma is childhood. Most of us walk around reacting to our childhoods unconsciously all our lives. Well, that's just tragic. So we're not in the present ever. So trust, and you're doing it bit by bit. That's why you're seeing all this. That's why you're feeling more powerful. Way to go. So you're doing what we talk about. You're taking your present and asking, what can I do to bring more love into this situation? Which it turns out if you bring into the present, heals the past. Wow. Kill me. We'll see you next week.